Another one bites the dust.
So on abortion, I've always believed in a legal right to abortion. So let me just put that on the record. I'm a Christian.
So Murdo Fraser, their Conservative MSP, leadership contender, he says he supports the ongoing mass killing of the unborn. Then in the very next breath, he says he is a Christian. Now, when Murdo says he supports the legal right to abortion, he maybe would say he doesn't sort of approve of abortion, he doesn't like it, but he thinks there should be a legal right. So that would be analogous to saying, I personally don't like murder, but I don't think it should be illegal. That would be a reasonably close analogy. If he believes Orthodox Christian teaching that the value of the unborn is one human life, all lives are equally valuable, then to try and hold that position that somehow or other allowing the industrial scale killing of the unborn should be allowed to continue, well, I think just can't possibly make sense. Now, Murdo Fraser, I don't know him, I've met him a few times, but I don't really know him, but maybe in his heart of hearts, he is actually pro-life. Same with Kate Forbes. I think in her heart of hearts, she is actually pro-life. But I would say to that, so what? I'm not interested in Murdo Fraser's private thought world. I'm interested in stopping the mass killing of the unborn. It's a bit like, if someone said, actually Hitler had a soft spot for the Jews. He just did that all anti-Semitism stuff just to get elected. He just said all that and did all that just because he thought it would be popular. I mean, does that make it better? Will that make you think, Hitler wasn't that bad after all? In politics, it's what you say and what you do that are the important things. Murdo might say, you have to be wise, you have to pick your battles. Abortion is just too controversial at the moment. Well, I would say, why is it so controversial? Part of the reason it's seen as so controversial is that people like Murdo back away from saying what they believe. If they were open about what they believed, if more people were open about stating that they really valued every human life, then it wouldn't be so controversial. It wouldn't be seen as such a toxic issue. There would be strength in numbers and the voice could be heard. But every individual who says, I'm going to keep my head down, I'm not going to say anything, I'm going to go with the flow, I'm going to compromise, that adds to the problem. Murdo might say, sacrifices have to be made to get to the top sometimes. I'd say, okay, maybe, but not human sacrifices. I get really frustrated when I hear Christians say, if only we had more Christians in politics, that's what we need. We need more Christians getting involved in politics. To which I always think, I don't care how many Christians there are in politics. That is not important to me at all. How many people are wearing the Christian badge? But as far as I'm concerned, now Murdo Fraser, in the realm of politics, he's not like a Christian ally. To me, he's an enemy, he's an opponent. He's someone on the other side of the argument. Now, it's not a case that, there's the Christians and the non-Christians. That's the real tension. That's the real dividing line. As far as I'm concerned in politics, the more important dividing line is people who are promoting a culture of life, I would say like myself, the Family Party, people who are promoting a culture of death, like Murdo Fraser. That is the real important divide. So in politics, a big part of my calling is to fight the evil of abortion and to fight against those who promote it and endorse it. People like Murdo Fraser and Kate Forbes. Now, a lot of Christians have the idea that, Christians in politics, they might be in rival parties, but they're fellow Christians and they're united in faith. That's the most important thing. Well, yes, we are fellow Christians. We are united in faith, but I don't see that as the most important thing. It's not a matter of, we happen to be in different parties. This is a disagreement on a fundamental and grave matter of Christian moral principle. So my hope and my prayer with Kate Forbes and Murdo Fraser in particular here is that he'll come to realise that. He'll come to realise that he is compromising on a matter on which he ought not. So Murdo Fraser says as a Christian, I'm not going to even begin to suggest that I don't believe that. I know. And if he's a Christian, then that's really good. In terms of his personal standing with God, his own spiritual life, then that's a very positive thing. I would regard him as a Christian brother. But I do not regard him as a political ally because we're on the different side on this crucial issue. And it's quite enlightening hearing Murdo saying that. Murdo's involved in organising the National Prayer Breakfast. Big event, lots of politicians go, the First Minister often goes to it. And I find it very frustrating because they invite all these politicians and then there's no challenge. No one ever says anything from the stage about, a culture of life, protecting the unborn, etc. There's no challenge whatsoever. And I now think, well, that sort of makes sense because Murdo Fraser is pro-abortion. So why should I expect the National Prayer Breakfast to be challenging these politicians? But there's another Christian organisation in Scotland called Logos Scotland. They organised an event a few months ago about, Christians in politics, Christians in public life or something. And they had Murdo Fraser and Kate Forbes as the speakers. Now again, with Logos Scotland, I sometimes think, I'm a bit frustrated. They never seem to say anything pro-life. They never seem to address the gravest moral issue of our time. And now I think, well, that sort of makes sense, because Murdo Fraser and Kate Forbes are pro-abortion. So why would they address it? So what Murdo said there, it sort of helps things to make sense for me. Now, it's quite a contrast. If you think about Trump in America, Trump used to be quite pro-life. He would say quite pro-life things a while ago. And I would hear him say them, and I think, I'm not sure you really believe that. But anyway, if you're saying it and you're saying that's what you're going to do, then that's great. You're right behind you. Really pleased to hear that. But more recently, he's been a bit more compromised and vague. And he said something not too long ago that was basically more in the pro-abortion direction. And the pro-life groups, and a lot of Christians in America, they absolutely slated him for it. They jumped on him and said, right, we're not supporting you anymore. Don't expect our support if you go around saying things like that. And Trump backed down. He said, it didn't really mean that, and just tried to maneuver his way out of it. And that's the pro-life activists, Christians in America, showing that they understand democracy and they're using their influence. Whereas in Scotland and in Britain, that virtually never happens. If you wear the Christian badge, you can deny Christian teaching left, right and centre, and you will not be criticised by Christian organisations and prominent Christians. That just tends to be the way it is. And I think that's wrong. So if Murdo Fraser says something that Christians would agree with, in line with biblical teaching, in a couple of weeks' time, then there'll probably be reports of that from all sorts of Christian campaigning groups. Look, Murdo Fraser stood up for the truth on this issue. Okay, fine. But they also need to be saying Murdo Fraser has denied the truth on an absolutely critical matter. And that's a very serious issue indeed. Because Christians need to know that. But who is there to tell them? Who is there to point that out? Well, it feels like at the moment, like me, and that's about it. That's about it. So the pro-life involvement in the mainstream parties, how's it going? Well, we've got Kate Forbes, who's now become a pro-abortion politician. Lisa Cameron in the SNP. She was quite distinctly pro-life. She was ostracised and more or less forced out of the party. Murdo Fraser, he's now compromised and he's basically saying he's pro-abortion. Jeremy Balfour, sort of doesn't say anything. If you really search very, very, very hard, you might find a slither of evidence of pro-life views, but it's basically totally inactive on the issue. John Mason, who would speak out from a pro-life perspective in a very gentle and restrained way, but he would be quite clear on the matter. Well, he's currently suspended from the SNP. So the question I would ask of people who promote that strategy is, how is it going? It seems to be in the mainstream parties, you've got two choices. It's either unconscionable compromise or ostracism. Take your pick. In the Scottish Family Party, your mission is to promote what you actually believe and to promote the truth, goodness and justice in this area. And I'm very happy to be in that situation. I might not get paid as much, but I'm happy to put my head on the pillow at night knowing that I've spoken the truth and promoted a just cause. So I would invite Murdo to please think again. Murdo, if you watch this, I'd be very happy to discuss the matter, to debate it with you. Maybe that will happen. I don't know. Right, I'm going to make another video maybe tomorrow about other things that Murdo Fraser said during the leadership election campaign. It's a bit like a mirror image of the Kate Forbes leadership election campaign as well. So I'll commentate on some other aspects tomorrow. Just a quick mention, Friday the 13th of September in Kilmarnock in the evening, I'm taking part in a question time event. Look on our social media for details. Do come along if you can. And thanks for watching.